But the big picture for the Sacramento Kings is a Keegan Murray extension at 25, 30 million plus a Keon Ellis extension at 15 to 18 million would eat up a lot of space, but still be reasonable if this Sacramento core continues. And the flexibility play here is Sacramento could stagger the guarantees. Welcome back to another episode of our King-related podcast, wherever you may be. And on today's episode, we're going to take a look at potential contract extensions for both Keegan Murray and Keon Ellis. Plus, I'll give you some of my predictions on what an extension for both of them could look like if the Kings end up getting those done with both Keegan and Keon Ellis. But first, if you're watching this on our Kings-related YouTube channel, please give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and leave a comment down below. And if you're watching on Spotify, please rate 5 stars, leave a review, be much appreciated. Also do the same over on Apple Podcasts. Drop 5 stars, leave a review as well. And we're also available wherever else you get your favorite podcasts out there. Keegan Murray and Keon Ellis, both looking on extensions. The possibilities for a Keegan Murray contract extension, who is eligible this offseason with the rookie scale extension rules. Yeah, I believe they can get it done anytime. Keegan had a up and down 2024-25 season, from the coach getting fired, his best friend and De'Aaron Fox getting traded. The offense not quite there. Solid defense. He had improved his rebounding, but still inconsistent from 3-point shooting and low free throw attempts. If you look at Keegan Murray this past season, 6.7 rebounds a game, 83% from the free throw line. But there are some analysts out there that believe that Keegan Murray has enough leverage to get into the $30 million per year AAV range when it comes to a contract extension. And where would that compare? And the market that tells us rookies after 3 seasons, especially guys like Keegan Murray who were drafted high, they often get an extension in the 4 to 5 year range. Max rookie extensions are possible, but under certain criteria based on performance. Other players with Keegan's profile, a solid 2-way role starter, defensive growth, and room for the upside on the offensive end. Players like that, they tend to get something in the 18 to $25 million per year range, depending on the length, the guarantees, and the bonuses in that contract. And for the possible extension scenarios for Keegan Murray, if you want to go the modest and the safe route, if you're the Sacramento Kings, you could look at 4 years, $18 to $2 million a year. And that's what, $75 to $90 million total. That is a low risk for the Kings. And Keegan Murray takes a lower upside in exchange for security, but he would need to show the consistent offense and shooting, and that leaves a value on the table if he improves this season significantly on the offensive end. But if you want to look at the middle ground and the market value for Keegan, you're talking 4 or 5 years, and the dollars per year goes up. And you could possibly look at 25 to $30 million a year, and that is 100 to $150 million total, and that's for 5 years. With that contract, that shows the defensive reliability, improved three-point shooting, shot creation, and that is betting on Keegan's growth. If he hits more of the cap, but manageable, that contract could be structured well. But if you're looking at the high and the stretch scenario for an extension, you're looking at 5 years and max rookie extension possible. I don't think Keegan is going to get that. I don't think he's going to get that, which could be somewhat higher if Keegan has an All NBA or Defensive Player of the Year, etc. And I don't think he's All NBA, maybe Defensive Player of the Year, probably not. That is what, 30 million plus a year. And Keegan Murray would need to have a breakout season and more impact on the offensive end of the floor, and and a higher risk if the performance stagnates. And that's more cap pain, but also the possibility with injuries or the regression. I don't think Keegan Murray is going to get that possible extension. The most likely, maybe the 4 years. Maybe the Kings taking the safe route and doing the 4 years, maybe the middle ground possible. But I don't see him with the max rookie extension. I was seeing several of the players that were in Keegan's draft year, what they got, like a Jaren Jackson Jr. on what he got from the Memphis Grizzlies. Given Keegan Murray's age and the current trajectory that he's on and the needs for this Sacramento team, the likely outcome could probably be a 4-year extension somewhere in the 25 $30 million a year range is plausible if Keegan shows the signs of the improvement offensively. And if Scott Perry and the Kings, if they're more cautious, they might do closer to the lower end, 20 to 22 million a year. But Keegan and his reps, they could push harder for more dollars possible if they do push for more dollars. Some of the extension proposals that I'm going to go through for Keegan Murray. One, if the Kings want to go the low risk, team friendly deal, you can look at 4 years, $84 million. That's $21 million in the AAV. The structure, depending on the salaries or the partial guarantees on last season, and why that would work for the Kings, that could limit Sacramento's cap exposure. And Keegan Murray, he gets security, and the rest you have with this first proposal. Because if he breaks out, this deal could look cheap, and Keegan Murray might regret it. The other extension proposal that I'm going to show, maybe the Kings go the middle ground, the more of the market value. You could look at 4 years, $116 million. The AAV would be $29 million, and you could structure it fully guaranteed, small incentives if he makes an all-defensive team, the three-point percentage threshold and or games played, and why this could work. And it fits the market comparisons to like a Desmond Bain pre the leap value, and it balances the security with the upside. And the risk, if the Kings go with this proposal, is if Keegan Murray stalls offensively, I mean, we don't see the growth, this could feel heavy on Sacramento's cap sheet. And if you're really looking at a commitment, and Scott Perry and the Kings are betting on a breakout from Keegan Murray, you could go 5 years, $160 million, and the AAV would be $32 million, and the structure could be a neo the max style deal, escalating salaries. Why that could work? It shows the confidence that he will be the true number 2 or 3 option next to Sabonis or Levine, and that keeps Keegan Murray here in the capital city for the long term. And all indications is that Scott Perry really loves Keegan Murray and sees Keegan Murray as part of this core moving forward. But the risk, if you go that route where you're betting on a breakout season from Keegan, it's a big gamble for the Kings. And if his shooting and the shot creation never stabilize, that eats into the flexibility that the Kings would have going forward. Now let's look at Keon Ellis. Keon Ellis, if I'm a huge Keon Ellis fan, and the possible extension possibilities for Keon Ellis if they come to agreement anytime soon. The Kings this past summer, they exercised his team option for this upcoming season at about $2.3 million. And Keon Ellis has become a very valuable two-way 3-and-D guard on this Kings team, and he is the best defensive player on this Kings team. Ellis Island. Well, you're seeing Keon Ellis match up against the opposing team's best player guarding him. He's got the efficient shooting this past season, 80 games for Keon Ellis, so he's basically out there every game except for 2. 8.3 points a game, 48%, if you want to round that up to 49, shooting from the field, from the free throw line, 84.9% for Keon Ellis. And he is a really good defender, the best defender in my opinion on this Sacramento team as we head into the season and with media day starting next week. And this is a great story for the Sacramento Kings. Undrafted out of Alabama, somebody who you sign on a 2-way contract, you develop him in your system in Stockton, in the G League with the Stockton Kings, and then you converted that 2-way deal to a regular contract. And it's just a great story. There is belief that Sacramento views Keon Ellis with Scott Perry and his front office as a core to the defensive identity that they're trying to build with this new front office. And they're likely trying to keep him rather than test the open market next summer. The market comparability. You got defensive guard. He's a defensive guard who can shoot. I thought he really shot the ball really well from the field this past season, but he's not necessarily great at creating his own shot. He's not a star creation. He's gotten deals in the neighborhood. Other players in his range, they have gotten deals in the neighborhood of 3 years, 45 to 70 million, depending how strong their role is and how much offensive upside is projected. And there's reports that I saw online that could suggest that offers for Keon Ellis could be in the 10 to $16 million a year range if he becomes a restricted free agent and other teams do get involved. And some of the possible extension scenarios that the Kings could look at, they could be a little conservative and offer a team-friendly 3-year, $10 to $14 million a year. That could be $30 to $45 million. And the Kings getting a bargain like that, and Ellis accepting somewhat a lower upside for security and roll. And the risk is he might outplay that deal if he plays well. And if you want to go the market or the more balanced scenario of a possible extension, you can go 3 to 4 years, $15 to $18 million a year, and that would be 45 to $70 million. And that's if Keon continues to shoot well, he plays really good defense, he becomes a starter or a major rotation player in Doug Christie's system and requires the confidence in his ceiling. And if the Kings and if Scott Perry and this front office, if they want to be aggressive, they could go 4 years, maybe 18 to 20 million a year plus 70 to 80 plus $1 million. And that scenario would stretch the Kings budget more and it even more high expectations for Keon, and also risk if he doesn't develop further offensively in his offensive game, or if his role shifts. In my opinion, I think the likely outcome for a contract extension for Keon Ellis could be in that 3 to 4 year deal range, something in the 15 to $18 million a year range, a little more realistic if we're talking. And if Keon Ellis maintains or improves his current level this season, and that might include the performance incentives like defensive team nods, the 3 point percentage thresholds, game plays, the starting, because Keon Ellis could start maybe at times to bridge the gap between the conservative and the aggressive offers that the Kings could offer Keon Ellis in extension talks with him and his representatives. But if we're looking at extension proposals for Keon Ellis, the low risk, conservative value lock in, maybe we're looking at 3 years, 36 million, an AAV of $12 million. And that structure, you got early outs for the Kings, partial guarantee for the final year. Why this would work is it's an excellent value if Keon Ellis continues as a rotation plus defender. The risk, if you go with this low risk move, is Keon Ellis could outplay this contract very quickly, making him extremely underpaid and potentially unhappy. But if you want to go the middle ground and the fair market deal, how about 4 years, $64 million, an AAV of 16 million, and you could do a fully guaranteed incentives tied to starts and defensive metrics. Why this could work is it matches to guys like Herb Jones or Derek White's earlier deals, fair for both sides. And the risk that you go with that, the middle ground, is if Keon Ellis is shooting dips, the contract may feel slightly heavy for a defensive first guard. But if you really want to go all in, move all your chips in, and you want to commit to Keon Ellis, you could go 4 years, 76 million, an AAV of 19 million. You could front load the deal, and the Kings would be betting on Keon Ellis as the long-term starter. I don't think he is. I think he's more of a backup, and I don't think he's a full-time point guard. Why this would work is it locks in Keon Ellis's prime years, and it shows the confidence that this new front office has in his growth. And the risk you have with this is it limits Sacramento's ability to chase other free agents and could look steep if his role stays as an elite seventh man rather than a clear starter. But the big picture for the Sacramento Kings is a Keegan Murray extension at 25, 30 million plus, a Keon Ellis extension at 15 to 18 million would eat up a lot of space, but still be reasonable if this Sacramento core continues. And the flexibility play here is Sacramento could stagger the guarantees. The Ellis with extensions, Murray with partial guarantees, and final year to reduce the downside. And the identity fit is both Keegan and Keon embody Scott Carey's vision, defense, versatility, and two-way growth. Those are two guys that you want long-term as part of this core going forward, along with Sabonis. So let me know in the comments down below. What is the best contract extension that you would give Keon Ellis and Keegan Murray for their next deal? Let me know in the comments down below. And that will do it for this episode of our Kings-related podcast. Be sure to, if you're watching this on YouTube, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. And we're available wherever else you get your podcast, whatever platform you listen to. And we'll catch you next time on another edition of our Kings-related podcast. Take care and go Kings.